It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's showtime. Yes, sir. Showtime. Geno Jones Showtime. Coming to you live. Yes, I am. New start time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. live in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Everybody on the West Coast, this is how we get down. Spread the word. Tell everybody that doesn't know that we have a new start time. Tell everybody you know to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. All right, an update, big announcement. We are 100 new subscribers. As a matter of fact, there were 102 to be exact as of 7:30 from becoming a YouTube partner. My media company and the show means that in 102 new subscribers, my company will get a monthly check from YouTube. Get that YouTube bag for becoming a YouTube partner. That is because of each and every one of you. Thank you so much in advance. And spread the word. Continue to tell everybody. Put your posts up on social media. You can post, record a little video post, and you can put it up on social media. Subscribe to the channel. There's no paywall, so I don't charge. However, it is so important that we support Black-owned media, like this platform and my media company, because we're all we got, but we're all we need, and we got everything we need when we come together. So once again, you can Zelle the show. You can Zelle my media company if you want to support the show financially. Also, information if you would like to be a sponsor or advertiser, I'd be honored to have you. I'd love to have you. So you can Zelle your financial contribution. That would be GenoJonesShow@gmail. So you just go to Zelle, type in Geno Jones, use my email address, GenoJonesShow@gmail. You can Cash App, $Dad G Jones. It's $, capital D like Daddy, lowercase a like Apple, lowercase d like David, capital G like Geno, capital J like Jones, lowercase o like oatmeal, lowercase JON like Nanette, lowercase e like elephant, lowercase s like Sam. So there you go. $Dad G Jones. I want to send a big shout out to my guest last night. You know, I try to do this 2 to 3 times a month. I'm going to start doing it every week. Support a Black-owned business. Spotlight a Black-owned business. Give them a platform. Not that they needed it, especially here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro. Big shout out to Justin Wages, Andre Grundy, David Kinlock, the founders of the Don Lucci Prosecco. That's the Prosecco you need to have in your fridge, in your house, in your little wine or champagne cellar. So big shout out to Justin and Andre and David and the Don Lucci Prosecco brand. They were on last night. It was their first time, but will not be their last time. They have a permanent home, and hopefully you'll see yours truly as their brand ambassador, Pitchman, because I'm the king of Pitchman. Brand ambassadors. What did my man Don D.C. Curry say? Was that next Friday? I'm the king. I'm the king. So just want to give them a big shout out and all their fans and supporters that tuned in last night. The show is interactive. Hello, Rosalind Anderson. You can do like Rosalind Anderson right now. You can jump in the chat room and say, hi, Geno. Thank you, Rosalind. Everybody else jump in the chat room. It's gonna be intense. So I'm giving you a heads up. And I've been talking about this for so long. So you can just jump in that chat room. It's live. And if you got a question, comment, let me know who you are. Let me know where you're watching. Say, hey, Geno, shout me out. I'm so-and-so from so-and-so. And we're watching wherever. You're at home, in your media room, theater room, maybe on your tablet, on your smartphone, at work. You're at the airport, at your gate, waiting on a flight. Taking a break at work, or you supposed to be working, but you got your earbuds in and you're watching and listening to the show. So I appreciate you in advance. Now listen, I haven't talked about Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and that distraction. Child sex offender, was convicted of basically sex trafficking, hung himself in prison. Him and Orange Hitler, Donald Trump, longtime friends, all kind of pictures and video of them hanging out at parties with younger women. That's not a secret. That's been known for a while, about a decade or maybe longer than that. That's a distraction that I'm not going to deal with today. And to the Beehive, you know, I hate that, you know, Beyonce has some unreleased music that was stolen from a car. There was some Apple, I guess, laptops and some other, I think it was some money. But the main thing, so there were two computers, I think like Apple laptops that had unreleased music. One of the choreographers had a car, I don't know if it was a rental car, it was in a garage in Atlanta, because Beyonce was just in Atlanta last weekend, got stolen. I love you, Beehive. I love B. I hadn't talked about that. I'm just mentioning that here. But that's not what today's show is all about. It's going to be a hell of a segue, hell of a transition. Last week, I talked about basically we as men, we have to protect our women. Full stop. Men, we have to protect our women. And specifically as a black man in America, speaking to black men all across the entire, not just in America, but all across the entire African diaspora, from the Caribbean to South America to Europe to Asia to the continent, the motherland, continent of Africa, we have to protect our women. You know, Malcolm X gave a speech May 22nd, 1962. You guys have heard me quote a part of this speech for years. I've been doing this. Malcolm X said the most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in America is a black woman. The most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in all of America is a black woman. Malcolm X said that in a speech 63 years ago. 6 decades later, that's still true. You know, I'm a big advocate against domestic violence. As a matter of fact, my guest is going to be coming on soon. Those who live here in the Charleston area, those who have been watching my show, especially from day one, 4.5 years, going on 5 years, it'll be 5 years in October. You've seen this brother on and his wife, who have been doing great work for over a decade, here in the Charleston, not just here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro area, but all throughout the state of South Carolina and the Southeast and the Carolinas, about supporting women who've been victims of domestic violence. So let me start off by saying this. It's not going to be a long monologue because I'm going to bring my guest on, but let me just say this. Because I've talked about on the show what real men do and don't do. So, to all the men out there, if you consider yourself a real man, you know one thing that real men, there are many things that real men don't do. But today, I'm going to talk about one thing for certain. One thing that real men don't do is make excuses. Now, I understand I've been a black man in America, in this skin, in this body, with all the profiling and the demonization and just the criminalization, not based on actual crime, but just my presence, how people have viewed me, who don't see my humanity, that see me as criminal, thug, some violent person, this over-sexualized beast, you know, with these animal-like appendages and male endowment that wants to prey on white women and rape and kill and all that. As a black man, we as black men have had that projected on us for centuries. In books, in print form, books and newspapers and movies, music, you name it, media, news media. I understand the trauma, that the epigenetic trauma is trauma that is literally passed down. You can Google it, you can chat GPT, you can Digital Green Book AI, which is the black-owned AI company. You can find this out, you can do your own research. Google this. Epigenetic trauma is trauma that is passed down generation to generation through our DNA. I understand the epigenetic trauma that we as black people, black men and black women carry. So as a black man, I understand that. I've been racially profiled. I have been harassed by the police as a teenager, followed, told that I was I looked like a suspect. And then when I asked of a description of the subject, they gave me a description of somebody that was wearing entirely different clothes. Happened to me in Chicago. I was either junior or senior, I was a senior in high school, or had just graduated that summer. I've had police follow my car with their high beams on just because. I've worked in Los Angeles. I've done a morning radio show in a rental car on my way to a comedy venue to MC the comedy show with an all-white suit, and have LA County sheriffs have me get out of the car after I show them the rental car contract and have me lay on the ground, face down, with a white suit on in the middle of the street, Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. So I got all of that. I've seen all the videos of black men like Walter Scott here, who was literally shot in the back while he was running away from police officers. I've seen all that. So I get the trauma. But one thing that we as men cannot do anymore is to allow trauma to be excuse. We can't allow trauma to be an excuse to traumatize and victimize, harm, beat, rape, murder, attempt to murder, or kill a woman. Period. Full stop. And brothers, me to you, like we're in the barbershop sitting around watching the game. Real men do not make excuses. But I also want to speak to some women, with people who have humanity, real people who have real humanity and compassion and empathy and decency and a sense of morality. And I do, but I don't really understand how things like this can happen. But I want to speak to women, to the women who have or may say, because maybe it's your brother or your son or dude you used to date or your baby daddy or dude you got a crush on or whatever it is, or to somebody that you like, you think he's fine, or for whatever reason. If you ever find yourself asking a victim of domestic violence what she did, not what he did, not why he did what he did, what she did to trigger this batterer, abuser, attempted murderer, rapist, you need to check your soul. You need to check your spirit. You need to check your humanity. And I understand how we have been brainwashed as humans, men and women, to not see, to not validate, to hear and not to give the benefit of the doubt in a patriarchal society with all the misogyny and sexism. I get it. But there was a reason Malcolm X said 63 years ago, the most disrespected, unprotected, neglected person in America is a black woman. But if you are a woman and you can ask a woman that you know who is supposedly a friend of yours or maybe a family member, when she has literally escaped with her life by the mere grace of God, when she literally escaped with her life, when a batterer did everything he could to intentionally shoot to kill this victim, and they escaped that, and then the woman shares that story with you, and you ask her, be it a woman or a man, well, what did you do to trigger him? You need to check your soul. You need to check your spirit. You need to check to see, you know, say check to see if you got a pulse. You need to check to see if you've got a soul and a spirit. I don't care who you are. But as a woman, I find that just beyond heartbreaking. It takes your breath away. That a woman wouldn't see her humanity in another woman's humanity. All right, I want to bring somebody on that's really been doing this work, he and his spouse and his team, to speak to this. And I'm done. You know, my monologue went a little longer than expected, but it's okay. Some things you need to take as much time. And I talk about this subject a lot, and we can't speak about it enough. We can't speak on it enough. We cannot, because men, once again, violence against women, I've been saying for 4.5 years, it is not a woman's problem. It is a man's problem. And men, we as men, because the majority of men are not batterers and abusers and violent. We're not. But we can't be the silent majority. We got to be loud and right, because the abusers are loud and wrong and liars. They lie and they're loud and wrong. So we got to drown out the liars that are loud and wrong. Drown out the liars that are loud and wrong with the voices of truth and justice and compassion and empathy and humanity. This young man is great work. A lot of organizations. We met his organization, Men Against Domestic Violence. He's having a huge conference. He's been doing this for over a decade, where we speak to and mentor young men and boys. Speak to them in honest, truthful, candid ways. Give them a safe space just to be human. And this year, it is not just a conference, it's a back-to-school drive, Boys to Men Conference and back-to-school drive August 2nd here at Burke High School, which is a legendary high school, predominantly. As a matter of fact, Burke High School was one of the few schools back in the day that black people could attend. So it's got a legendary reputation, incredible alumni, and this conference and back-to-school drive is going to be at Burke High School. It's near downtown Charleston, South Carolina. My pleasure to bring on my brother by another mother, who I have called this brother so many times, and his wife just out the blue. And, you know, I'm triggered. I mean, I trigger him, but we have been having these conversations. He's been having these conversations in private, in public, with public figures, with anybody that would listen. People who kind of dismissed it and dismissed him, but didn't take, even men and women who didn't take this subject serious. In a state, South Carolina, when I got here, South Carolina was either #1 or near #1. So for the last 20 years, South Carolina has probably been no lower than the top 5 states for women who die because of domestic violence, which is shameful. Bush Kennedy, thank you, my brother. I welcome you to the show. Thank you for always listening. So unmute your mic for me. And yeah, unmute your mic for me.
Yeah, I did. That was deep.
There you go. Really it's deep. All good. And I've said what I had to say. I'm just gonna turn the floor over to you, brother, and just kind of let you take it from there. I know there's so many different angles that we need to cover. So I just someone who has done this work, who has been trained, whose spouse is an incredible advocate, and I know you guys have some other exciting news. If you want to share that later, you can. But I just want to turn over the floor to you, and if there's anything in that monologue that I misspoke, maybe I was wrong or unfair, or didn't listen to the other side. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one side in this subject and situation. It's the side of humanity. It's the side of right and wrong, and there's no side that justifies violence against anybody, specifically violence against women. But you have the floor.
I appreciate you, my brother, and I will be 100% honest with you, man. I when I came into this fight, right, I was naive, right? It was crazy because we originally dealt with gun violence, and I was speaking someplace, and a young lady came up to me and said, "If you want to really deal with the violence in our community, you need to deal with domestic violence." I'm like, domestic violence? I didn't even know what it was, so I was naive, and I'm talking. I was in my 40s or 50s back then, so we're talking about 15, 20. We're talking a while ago. Right. So I started doing my research. That's what I do. I'm an engineer. So I do my research. I start doing my homework, and I come across a lady by the name of Carolyn Thomas. Now, Carolyn Thomas had her entire face shot off by her boyfriend. So she calls herself the $1 Million Woman because she had to go through so many surgeries to reconstruct her face that it cost over $1 million to reconstruct her face. I thought this was the strongest and most incredible woman that I'd never met. Right. So for a while, I kept doing my research. I put her face all over my wallpaper, right, at work. So every time I would go to work, I would see her, right? And that became my motivation. I had to figure out what it was about us as men, right, that allowed something like that to happen, and that nobody ever checked the young gentleman who did it. And then I actually followed the whole trial when he went to trial, and I saw him come into the room, and I saw the smirk on his face, and I saw the way he behaved. He actually killed the mother, though. So he did not kill her. He shot her face off, but he killed the mother. And for years, I've been trying to wrap my head around, what is it about a man that can do that and have that type of brass, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but
a lack of humanity as a human. How does even animals in the wild don't behave that way? Where did we lose our humanity, Butch? My God.
So I started reaching out, and I started working, and I started doing this work, and I started talking to men, and had this conversation all over the state. I've been to North Carolina. I met with a gentleman by the name of Tony Porter, and him and I have the same conversation, right? We have a conversation about what us as men can do to end violence against women, and how we as men are the answer. Because you said a mouthful. You said that that women don't want this, right? And if they could stop it, they would, right? Ending violence against women is a man's job. It's a man's responsibility, right? And when I started this, and I started doing the work, and I would go places and I would speak, a lot of men in the community didn't feel like I was doing real work, right? They didn't feel like it was valuable work, and I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about life and death here, right? And because it didn't fit your narrative as to what you thought was value, right? In my opinion, it was everything, right? Because just like you said, the Black woman is the most undervalued and unappreciated of the women. But I had a Black mother, right? I have a Black wife, right? I have Black children, Black daughters, right? And I want to make sure that we're building a nation, right, that they're going to be protected and valued and safe. That's it. That's number one. I want to make sure that they're safe and they're protected. What people don't understand is that in relationships, the most dangerous person that any female in a relationship is the person she's in a relationship with. That was a hard pill for me to swallow, man. That was a real hard pill for me to swallow. So I had to dig deep. And in order to dig deep, you have to start with yourself, right? You have to start with yourself. You have to start with how you came up, right? And how you got to be the person you are. And then you have to realize some of the triggers that you have in your life, and some of the things that you did in the past that weren't really really, really good, right? So, and you have to hold yourself accountable. In order for me to hold anybody accountable for their mess, I have to clean my mess up, right? I have to fix me.
Raise
And
your
that's where I
hands.
started at. I started fixing me, right? And in that process, right, and talking to other men, and generating that conversation with other men, right, it began to build a network. And now the same men that said that this was not valuable, like I told you, I had to build my own table because they wouldn't let me sit at theirs, right? So I had to build my own table. Now they want to come sit at my table, and I'm fine with that because at the end of the day, all that I really care about is that we're having this conversation about protecting our women. And to me, my platform has been forever is ending violence against women. As soon as I got into this game, as soon as I talked to that little sweet little Jewish old lady, as soon as she came and told me that, I was on a mission, and I needed to know what I know now back then. And if I'd have known what I know now back then, if I'd have known that 50 years, 40 years ago, I'd be a different guy, right? So that's why we do the Boys to Men conference, right? Because when I was a kid growing up, my uncles and everybody, they would laugh at me. They say, "Oh boy, you messing up." Well, but you'll learn one day. You'll figure it out one day. You'll figure it out one day. Just live long enough and you'll learn. You'll figure it out. And I'd always say, "Well, why don't you just tell me? Why do I have to figure it out? Why don't you just tell me so I'll know? Why don't you teach me?" Right? But they wanted me to learn on my own. That's why we do the Boys to Men conference, right? I don't want these young boys out here because the way they learn it now is with guns, right? I don't want them out here learning like that. I want us to teach them, right? Teach them a different way. And the Boys to Men conference to me is so powerful because we got boys from different areas, different communities come together in one space, right? And now they know each other. So when they're outside of that space, they know each other. And when they see each other, they're not going to be beefing, right? It's going to be difficult to beef with somebody that you think is cool,
Yeah.
right? So that's the goal, is to bring everybody in Charleston together because we're linked by one way or another. A lot of people don't realize just how linked we are as a people, right? And how we could be 3 generations apart, right? Separated, right? You could be my fourth cousin for all we know, you know what I mean? Because we did not know who we were when we came here, right? All that was taken away from us. So it's important for me to make sure that our kids, right, not only see men that look like them that are successful, right, but know that they can achieve that goal. When I started this process, man, I was blown away by all the kids that wanted to be football players, basketball players, knowing that that's a admirable goal if you're good, but you have to be really, really good to become a professional at it, right? And your chances of becoming a professional basketball player are slim, very, very slim, right? So, and I'm an engineer. So to see some of these kids following my footsteps, I got 4 kids that are now engineers
Wow.
and didn't know what an engineer was until they met me. And it blows me away now. And a couple of them are mentors for Boys to Men. So they are mentors now. They're engineers, and it's a good feeling knowing that you're able to teach people. That, I mean, friend always says is that if Tiger Woods' daddy never put the golf club in his hand, he'd never know how good he was, right? And that's what I try to tell these young boys is that we don't know what you can be unless you try. And we want to give you the tools to allow you to try, right? So I mean, failure is going to be, it's going to happen. You're going to fail. Michael Jordan failed 7 times, got back up.
And let
That's
me just
what
say this.
re-
Let me just say this, Butch. I think that we
Mhm.
really need to redefine so much. We need to redefine just about just manhood. But I think that we really need. I don't. I feel. I know this and feel it in my heart. We need to redefine failure because something only becomes a failure when you give up and don't learn.
Right. Never quit.
What we call failure is a lesson. And if you
Mm.
learn from your lesson, if you're in class and you got a math problem, you got an eraser, you get it wrong, okay, what did I do? Let me try it again. I got erase it, get some help, do what you need to do, talk to a teacher or a tutor, whatever. But you don't give up. It's a lesson.
Never quit.
You
Never
don't
quit.
quit. It's only failure when you don't turn the lesson, because the failure is just, all those are just lessons for you to sharpen that
Right.
muscle or whatever you need to do, or just to go back in the lab, keep working until you eventually get it right.
And that's what we're teaching our kids, right? I mean, you're gonna fail, right? So the problem that we had in the past is they failed and they would quit. and that's typical. I mean, they want to go the easy route. The easy route's on the corner, right? They see Joe on the corner. Joe's got all the money. Joe's got all the girls. Joe don't have no real job. Joe's slinging. So they think that's cool and that's what they want to do. They don't see people like me. They don't see people like you, right? Unless they come to an event like what we're having. That's why it's so empowering for young boys to come out and see positive role models, positive men, mentorship groups, right, that are willing to take your kid and mentor your kid, right, and teach them, what my forefathers, what my uncles wouldn't teach me. I had to learn on my own, right? So that's just teach our kids, man. Let's teach our kids, and then maybe, and I do this for a purpose, right? I do this because I want to build young men that I get that it's okay for my daughter to date, right? Because some of the men that I see nowadays, I'm like, I don't think that's a good fit, right? I want better for my daughter. So I want to build it better for her if I have to. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having the conversation with young black men and young men in general about where we are and how we got here, right? So not making any excuses, but you hit a lot of the nail upon the head. Everything, a lot of things that you said, right? All the trauma that we've endured as black men, right? But even though we've endured all that trauma, it's not fair for us to impose all that trauma on our black women, right? So we need to figure out, and this is the main thing. We need to figure out the way to express that anger, right, in a positive way, right, not a negative way. And learning here in South Carolina, especially since, oh my God, for the past 25 years, we've been in the top 10 of states of men that murder women. For the past 25 years, we've been in the top 10 every year except for two.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I started over 15 years ago, I said, well, I'm going to celebrate when we get out of the top 10. We got to number 11. And you would have thought that there was going to be a ticker tape parade, right? We got to 22 once, but then we went back down to number 5. In the state of South Carolina, man, and it comes to our women, we have to do better. We have to do better. And there's a lot of great men in the state of South Carolina, a lot of good men, right? A lot of good black men that, just like you said, would never, ever, ever hit a woman,
And
right?
can we
Over 80%.
And Butch, let's project that, because that's not just an issue here in South Carolina. We got to project it nationwide and globally, because this is a global problem. It's a problem in every state, and it's a problem all across the globe. So we got to change that whole culture. But I just want to speak to that. It's like I said, it is a problem that is not exclusive to South Carolina. It is a problem that is not exclusive to black men or white men, Hispanic men, because race is a made-up con game to begin with. But just as
Right.
men, we got to shift the paradigm. I just wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy that we have gotten to this point where we think as men, right, that we have to be a certain style of man for to become a real man, right? And that's why we started an organization called Real Mad, and everybody kind of got a little uptick about this real word, right? What do you mean real? I'm supposed to be a fake man. Real? Well, real has always been an acronym, right? And the R stands for resilient, right? Because we are resilient. Black men are resilient. I care that's what anybody says. We fall 7 times, get back up, right? The E is the word that you said that a lot of men don't understand, and that's empathy, right? Empathetic. We have to put ourselves in other people's shoes, right? Especially other women's shoes. We want to make sure that we're treating our women just like the queens that they deserve to be treated like, right? And that's what the E stands for. The A is for accountability. We need to hold each other accountability. We need to hold each other accountable for our actions, right? We need to be held accountable for what we do and what we don't do, right? So if we're not speaking up to end this violence against women, then we're condoning it, right? So for 15 years, I've been shouting by the mountaintop, hey, man, we need to cut this out. We cut this out. So, and the L is for leaders, man. We are leaders in this community, and we need to start to act like it. We need to lead in a positive light. We need to show our women, right, that they are important, right, that they have value, right, but we need them to be safe. We need them to be protected, right? We can't have a lot of the negativity thrust upon our women anymore. We can't be calling them out their names, right? We got to be more respectful to our women, and I learned that from my mom, right? So every one of us has that mother, right? That taught us better, right? So we need to make sure that we're using that same thought process, right, in our relationships.
Butch, I want to speak to the leadership part.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm just going to just be me. People that know the show, my grandmother said, "You need to tell the truth, shame the devil." Yeah, you know, it might hit you differently, uh, and I'll apologize to my mother and to the women that's watching. So I'm apologize for maybe the language, but not for the sentiment behind the language. Sometimes you got to be profane to be profound.
Okay.
Something else when it comes to things that we really need to redefine. One is leadership.
Mhm.
And let me just say this to men. When it comes to leadership and being a leader, I don't want to hear about what you've heard or read in this remix racist version of the Bible and Christianity that's been practiced in America. The same remixed racist version of Christianity. And it's not an indictment, it's an indictment on religion, period. So we can go, I mean, you know, Islam, Judaism, whatever. But, you know, look, I grew up Baptist church. You know, I've been in conversations, and I know you have, when people talk about, you know, leadership and submission. Having a dick between your legs does not make you a leader. Your genitalia and your gender does not make you a leader. Now you can keep trying to remix and quote and twist scripture, but the truth is that your genitalia, what you got between your legs, does not make you a leader. Leadership is something that you have to earn, it is something that you have to cultivate and curate and develop. But you've been in a leadership position with your nonprofit and professionally, you understand that. And anybody that's been a leader, like any kind of corporate professional situation, you should understand that. Now, there are horrible quote unquote leaders that are only leaders because they were given a title. But leadership is something that you earn. True leadership is not given, it is earned. Leadership always puts the people that they lead first.
Right. Yeah. Some of the
Leadership,
best leaders that I have.
yep, leadership protects and it wants to not just promote, but it wants the people that they lead, they create a culture. True leadership wants to get the best out of each and every person that they lead. True leadership wants you to be the best version of yourself. Even if your light eventually outshines mine, my goal as a leader is to get you to see and reach your full potential. I just wanted to, because that's so
Yeah.
important. And I've had that conversation, and I understand. I know you have too. You know, well, the Bible said women are supposed to submit. I'm the leader. Are you lead worthy?
Well,
I haven't.
that part.
I'm sorry. I'm saying it again because I'm just being real, Butch. I've had this conversation. Some dudes think just because they got a dick hanging between their legs that makes them a leader. It does not. That's the least. It has nothing to do with leadership, and
Right.
we got to redefine so much stuff, and that's part of it. Your genitalia and your gender doesn't make you a leader. Your character, your integrity, your compassion, your empathy, your decency, your sense of morality, your sense of service and sacrifice, the sense of wanting to to be a vessel, to be a blessing, and to help others. That's what makes you a leader. And if you don't get that, then sit your ass down.
Amen. 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 Some of my best leaders were female, right? My wife is a great leader. I'll follow her to the end of time. I promise you that right now. She's a great leader. And there's a lot of women that are great leaders. I learned a lot from a lot of amazing women. And in doing what I'm doing, there's not a lot of men in this room. There's not a lot of men in this field, right? So a lot of the people that I work with are largely female. So I learn a lot from them, and I might sound like I know a lot, but I've learned a lot, right? And over time, you learn a lot, and yeah, it's really difficult, right, to be a man, right, and to get a call at 2 o'clock at night to go pick up a victim of domestic violence who's just been beaten up by her boyfriend, right? And you're the man that's going to pick her up to put her in a safe space. And she's a little like, oh my God, here's a man. And now she's terrified, right? She's already terrified of me because I'm a man, right? And it's hard for me to put her at ease, right? But I work hard to do that, right? And that is what we do, right?
How do you
We
do that, Butch?
actually
I'm curious. I just, yeah, I've never heard you frame it that way. I know the work that you and your team does, but you never frame. We never. It was never framed in a conversation that you and I had like that. So I'm trying to visualize this. What does that look like? Because like you made an important point. A woman has just been traumatized, probably escaped literally with her life bruised, battered, or worse. And the person to rescue her, ironically, and I guess women say, damn, patriarchy and misogyny and sexism, even the man to save me is another man who I still don't know. How can I trust this stranger when I couldn't trust a man that I thought I knew and loved? How do you, what is that? How do you
it
how do
is
you
crazy.
get through all of that and somehow create, I guess, enough of a sense of trust or safe space where you could be able to help women who are in their true hour of need?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely difficult, right? Because I had never been there before. So the first time it actually happened, I was a little taken aback, right? And I was so apologetic, right? I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable. And that was the first thing I said. Whatever I do, I just want to make sure that you're comfortable. Okay. So if you're offended by me doing this, just let me know what you want me to do. I'll back up. Whatever you need me to do. So I was just more communicative, right? And I talked to her the whole time, and she explained stuff to me, and she talked to me, and I got a voice message from her 3 years later, thanking me,
Wow.
right? Because now she was in a safe space, and she was like, I never thought I could trust a man again, but I trust you because I didn't try to run the conversation, right? And I was absolutely honest. I said, I can never fathom what you've just been through, right? But I'm here to tell you that I believe that it's wrong. And I'm here to tell you that you're in a safe space right now. You're in a safe space. Nobody's going to bother you. I got you right now. Nobody's going to bother you. I'm going to protect you here on out. And she calls me her little daddy because she's taller than I am. I'm almost 5'10", but she's taller than I am. So I'm her little daddy, and she's a sweetheart, man. And when you get into relationships, right? And I tell kids all the time, when I get in if you get in a relationship with somebody and they come up and punch you in the face and ask you out on a date, you're not going to go out on a date with them, right? But that's not the way it happens. That's not the way domestic violence happens, right? I mean, they got to win you over, right? They got to sweet talk you. You know what I mean? They gotta win you over, and they can't win you over by doing that. So it takes a lot of trust, right? It takes a lot of trust, and now since I do what I do, and a lot of people know who I am, they trust me a little bit more, right? So I don't have to go through it a little bit more. I kind of understand a little bit more on what to do. But I mean, I always say that if you have a dog, right, a dog can determine, good people and bad people, right? I think everybody has that gene, like, but I use a dog because a dog is something that I'm familiar with. But I believe women have that innate gene that they know that this person's going to take care of them, this person's not going to hurt them, that I'm in a safe space. Usually, when the
Intuition.
police come,
Some they call it
yeah,
intuition or their spirit. Yeah.
usually when the police come, they feel safe. They feel safer when the police come. But I was taking her to the police station to get her to the safe house, and yeah, it was something that I'll never forget. And it's one of the reasons why we do what it is that we do. I get a lot of credit for all the good work that my wife does and her team does. We're actually opening our own safe house in Georgetown County now, so it's being renovated as we speak, and that's where she's at right now. She just left there, and now she's going to another event. But but it's important for us, right, to do stuff intentionally, right? We want to make sure that when we reach out to these victims and these victims need a safe space to be, that we have that safe space for them. And that's been important to me. That's been important to my wife, and we hope that comes across when people have these conversations with us, right? We just want to make sure that at the end of the day, that you are in a place where you feel safe and you feel loved and you feel cared about. And that's what we do even at the center that we have in Hanahan. We have a center in Hanahan as well. So if you're a victim of domestic violence and you have any issues, you just go to our place in Hanahan, and you can go to our website. All that information is at palmettohopenetwork.org.
Give the address, that website address again.
It's palmettohopenetwork.org.
Butch, before I let you run, I want you to speak to the majority of men who feel the way we do, who are passionate, who do not engage in violence against women, because we are the majority. We're the vast majority. But unfortunately, that's not enough. It needs to be 100% across the board with men. So, and I know we talked about this off camera and on the phone so many times, but I want you to speak to it, and you do it so eloquently. Let's have the conversation with the men who witnessed their moms being beaten and tried to defend their mom, or couldn't defend their mom, or they didn't know about it. Or maybe the men who never even had a woman in their family, but who have a sense of compassion and empathy and see a woman's humanity, see their humanity in a woman. Because as a man, seeing your humanity in a woman doesn't make you less than a man. It doesn't make you a woman. It makes you human, and it allows you to see your humanity. Because irregardless of gender, you are looking at a human. And the one thing that we all have in common, regardless of our gender or ethnic background or whatever, social economic status, is our humanity. So speak to those men, because you talked about not being silent. Earlier I talked about, abusers and batterers and men who engage in this horrible behavior, domestic violence, are usually liars and loud and wrong. Come up with excuses. Yeah. Well, all the kind of bullshit excuses. I'm not going to go down the line. But the millions of men that feel like us, we have got to not just drown out, but change the culture, shift the paradigm, and create a culture and a climate to where it's not acceptable. Full stop. If you need therapy, if you need prayer, if you need Jesus or Allah, whatever you need, we'll assist you. But real men do not make excuses. And no matter how much trauma that you have endured, you cannot use that as an excuse to victimize and to be violent and to harm your partner or any woman. So if you don't mind, brother, before we wrap up, I'll speak to that, because like I said, you've done it with me so eloquently.
Yeah, so I have the pleasure of going all over the state and having this conversation with men all the time, right? Our motto is real men don't hit women. I wear this bracelet all the time. It says real men don't hit women. That's what this bracelet says. And I wear it, I give it out at the Boys to Men conference as well. I have this conversation with men all the time that over 80% of men would never hit a woman. The problem is almost 20% will, and those 80% do absolutely nothing about it, right? And it's time that changes. That has to change.
Bush, can you give that? I know how you operate, you and Lisa and your organization. The fact that you were able to get the data. So there's science and data. But that number is so important. 80% of men don't engage in this behavior. But 20%.
We have the number.
20% is an alarming number, but the 20% kind of projects the image on the other 80% that don't. that too many women see men
Exactly.
in
But
general
but
as potential batterers because, like you said, the 80% of us that don't do it, as you said so eloquently, don't do shit about it. When you said it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that means we condone it, right? And it's crazy, man, to think that if you think about the population of America, 14% of Americans are black. And I'm telling you, 20% of men, right? Almost 20% of men will abuse a woman. And you got to realize how many black folk there are in America. So I'm telling you, more than us, right, are abusing women. But then there's 80% of us that do nothing. I mean, I need them with me. I need them in part of this fight, man. And you're talking about changing the culture. We need to redefine what manhood is. And that's what we do with Real Men Against Domestic Violence. We've been going around redefining what manhood is, but we have to have that conversation with other men, right? We all need to buy into what this real manhood is going to look like, right? We don't society what a man's supposed to be. We don't want other things telling us what a man's supposed to be. I think we need to decide what a man's supposed to be, what we as men will tolerate and what we won't. And what I don't think a man should tolerate is any man laying hands on any woman. And I think we need to be more respectful towards each other as well. You know what I'm saying? I think it comes from within. We need to learn how to communicate with each other, man. We need to not lay hands on each other either.
Yes.
I mean, that's the main thing, the powerful thing I like about the Boys to Men conference, man, is that you'll hear grown men walking around telling each other that they love you. I love you, man. I love you, man. And the kids eat that up, man, because they've never heard that before, right? So why are these men telling each other that they love each other? And what is that about? I mean, this is an emotion, right? That our young kids don't even know about. They've never seen men that actually interact the way that we interact, man. So it's a powerful day for our youth, man. And I just hope that the mothers out there understand that you can't cheat your sons out of this. I mean, and to make it one really, really plain is that it's free. It's all on me. It's free. It's all on Geno. Geno, it's all on Raphael. It's all on Terry Bass, right? It's all on DJ Cass. I mean, it's on us. We're paying for this. We're paying for you to bring your kids to us so that we can empower them to become better men. And that's what the Boys to Men is all about. So make sure that you bring it August the 2nd, man, Burke High School. We need to fill that gym up. When we do the girls, we do the Dream Girls conference with Rosalind and the Yes Group, man. You can't even get in the building, man. There's thousands of girls out there getting empowered every day. But what are they getting empowered for and who for? Our boys aren't ready for that, right? We need to make sure that our boys are the men that they need to become, right? So that they can respect these women and treat them with the dignity and respect that they deserve. That's
So
it in a
once,
nutshell. And
yeah, and I'm glad you ended it there. But you're a pro. You've been doing this. We are encouraging everybody, but I want to see men, even men who have engaged in domestic violence. Here's a chance to take a first step to really turn your life around, to show the young men in your life around you. Because it's not about shame, but it is about accountability. And it's about changing the culture. But once again, real men don't make excuses, and real men hold themselves and each other accountable. And like Butch said, we can do that with love. So please, we encourage everybody, dads and whatever that form that comes in, whatever title you got, dads, stepdads, bonus dads, father figures, because DNA don't make you a daddy. DNA don't make you a parent. That's a whole nother story. DNA makes you a donor. What makes you a parent is putting into love and nurturing and so many other things. So, and mothers, we encourage you, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, to please your sons, your grandsons, your nephews, your cousins, come out to this event. It's from 9 a.m. until 4. Butch, I'll let you give all the details. But we want to encourage the whole community, even if you don't live in the Tri-County area. We call it Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester County. You can jump on the interstate. Listen, you can come from wherever. But this is so important. And that call to action, the call to action is to the 80% of us who don't engage in violence against women. We can't afford to be the 80% that doesn't say and do shit, like Butch said. because we have the power to stop this, to end it. We can do it. Absolutely, positively, no excuses. My grandfather said, you do what you want to do when you want to do it bad enough. So we need to want to do it bad enough. So Butch, give us all the details again. And it's a back to school drive also, so I'm gonna let you speak to all that. And it is free, so if people have any other questions, you can give them the contact information on social media or phone number or anything else that you need to share and whatever final thoughts you have. And I'm just thanking you again, brother. Thank you for doing this work. And thank you. I thank you. And I thank God for using you as a vessel to put me in your life, to put us into each other's lives, to do the work that we have been committed, that we are in our soul and DNA committed to ending. So I want to thank you, God. I want to thank you for using this brother as a vessel that I could plug into and to amplify what I'm doing.
Yeah, God is so good, man. Because I tell myself and tell everybody I'm not that smart, right? So it has to be His wisdom that allows me to do the things that I do, and I thank Him constantly, and I pray constantly, right, that we have a better society for our kids. So on August the 2nd, right, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. we'll be doing the Boys to Men Conference at Burke High School. That's 244 President Street in Charleston, South Carolina. Historic Burke High School. We got the high school band, Burke Bulldog Band, and they're going to be there as well. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this day, man. It can't get here soon enough for me. We have Raphael James, Terry Bass, the morning MCs. We have Geno Jones and DJ Cass, the afternoon MCs. But we're going to have a conversation, right? And my man Geno and I are going to share that conversation. We're going to have this conversation with the men. And I want you men to come out. I want your voices to be heard. But most importantly, I want you to understand the power of your voice, right? Because it's one thing, and I tell everybody this story a lot. This is the Mary Thomas story, right? When Mary Thomas's sons were out doing drugs in the street, and she gathered all the kids together, and right, and she took a single wooden match, and she broke the wooden match, and she showed her sons how easy it was to break one wooden match, right? Then she put two matches together and tried to break them, and then three, and then four, and then five matches, and to show her kids that when they're united, they're not so easily broken. That's what we as men need to do. We as men need to come together just like those broken matches, and we need to make sure that we come together. I'm strong with Geno, right? We bring Raphael and all the other ones into this play, we're going to be strong. And we're going to be reaching out to each and every one of the men out there that think it's okay to treat women disrespectfully or beat up on a woman or whatever. We're going to make sure that they're held accountable for their actions. We want to make sure that they understand that we're not getting down like that anymore. We're not going to remain silent about that anymore. I mean, we want you guys to understand that that is wrong. There's no black and white in it. This is just wrong. So we need to teach each other different ways to express our anger, but hitting a woman is not that way. I'll always wear this band, Real Men Don't Hit Women, and I want to make sure that everybody understands, man, that that's just not what we as men are made to do.
And let me I want to add and piggyback on that point, and it's something I meant to say earlier, and I'm glad it came to me, because we talked about treating, especially in our culture and community, but just in the community of humanity. But specifically, I'm targeting our culture because everything starts at home. Like you said, we start with ourselves first. You know, before you can hold other people accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable first. Is that we have to relearn and redefine love for women and not attach it to something romantic or physical or sexual. Love them in the, as they call it, the agape way, and learn to treat women like the queens that they are. Whether they act like a queen or not, we cannot use that as an excuse. Well, you know, she act like a B and an H. I saw some crazy ass video. Some so-called preacher was in the pulpit talking about, well, if you can't do this to a B, you can't turn a B. I hold it. I'm like, you in a pulpit with a Bible in front of you? What warped, racist, sexist version of Christianity? What verse and chapter are you reading from? We treat women like a queen, even if they don't act like a queen, even if they don't treat themselves like a queen, even if they don't believe they are a queen. Because so many times they don't act like a queen or believe that they are a queen or special. They don't act that way. They don't believe it. They don't see themselves that way because too many times we have torn them down and we have allowed people outside of our culture and community to poison our brain with that when they won't say it to their queens. So we are parroting somebody else's bullshit that we've been taught. Well, you know, if she don't act like a queen, I ain't gonna treat her like a queen. Why not? Do you always act like a king? Hell to the no, no, you don't. But you still want to be treated like one. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. So even if she don't act like a queen, don't see herself as a queen. Don't behave as a queen. Don't even have an idea what a queen really looks like. She act like whatever you do. You don't treat if she acts that way, she acts like a B or H, don't mean that you treat her that way. Because maybe if somebody treated her differently and saw beneath that surface and saw the queen that she could be or inside of her, she might change her behavior. She might see herself differently. I just had to throw that in there, Bush. You got the floor, man. You got the last word. You can close this show out, but thank you again, brother. I can't thank you enough. Just for being you and doing the work that you do. And, just being a part of my life on this battle.
I love it. I love the passion, man. And more men need to have that passion, right? We need to be able to have passionate discussion about how we protect our women, right? And to me, that means everything, right? Anybody who knows me knows who my queen is. They know who my I call her my ace. You know what I mean? They know who she is. They know, how important she is to me, right? So and I just want men, right, to understand, that they're made from the rib, right? They're from our ribs, right? They're not from our back, right? They're not supposed to be behind us. They're supposed to be beside us, man. And and my wife is amazing, man. She's beside me through this whole entire process. So I want men to come out, right, on August the 2nd, and I want us to have some meaningful conversation, meaningful dialogue, and I want to change the narrative, right? But I want us to build a culture, right, where we as men can have that conversation, right? We as men have our own safe space, right? That's what this Boys to Men conference is. That's our safe space. We go in there and what goes on at Boys to Men can stay at Boys to Men if it needs to be that way. But it's going to be a day full of empowerment, full of love and respect for man, right? That's what we're building there. That's what we want, and that's the way it's going to be. So we're looking forward to seeing you come out, man. Get your sons there. Don't cheat your sons out of this one here, man, especially since it's on me. You know what I mean? Don't make me waste my funds. Don't make me waste my money. So let's have a good time.
And even if you got a neighbor, that's like a mentor, your best friend, if you got to work, if you can't, maybe you can get that neighbor, or maybe the guy that, coaches the little league team or the football, little junior football league, Pop Warner football league, or he plays a youth basketball league or whatever. But you do what you want to do when you want to do it bad enough. So we want to see young men, boys, young men, not so young men, the YNs and the OGs and all of that, all of them crazy acronyms. We need to come out, because the 80% of us men who don't engage in this can't be silent, because that means we are an accomplice, whether we know it or not. In law, that if you are aware of a crime, now of course we may not be aware in a literal sense, but we are aware this goes on in our community. We are aware that this goes on among men. So if we don't stand up and stop it and say something loud and right, then we are an accomplice. We are basically, it's they call it, you acquiesce. It's you co-sign, as my grandfather would say, we're co-signing for this behavior, Butch. But our silence is saying, ain't none of my business. Do what you got to do. That makes you an accomplice. Don't co-sign for this behavior. Saturday, August 2nd, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Burke High School, 244 President Street. That's basically downtown area of Charleston, South Carolina. Let everybody know where they can get more information, follow you on social media, and if there's a contact information. And for any woman that's in trouble or distress, if you guys got a contact information, any emergency number where a woman who's in a desperate situation may need somebody that could literally, her and her kids can just get out and get away with their life and find a safe space, please share that information on your way out.
It's funny, the majority of people contact me via Facebook, right? The majority of victims have contacted me via Facebook because if I give them a number, they'll forget that. But they somehow or another, they remember Butch Kennedy on Facebook, right? So if you just know Butch Kennedy on Facebook, just pop in there and just send me a message. If you need us, we'll be there. PalmettoHopeNetwork.org is our website. We have all that information on there. Not only were we doing the Voice to Men conference, we're doing the Hope Walk. It'll be my final walk across the Ravenel Bridge. This is 10 years walking across the Ravenel Bridge. This is our event to raise awareness to domestic violence, and it's been 10 years, man. So I mean, this is it. I'm doing the Michael Jackson tour. This is it, man. You know what I mean?
The knees is saying, "Hold on, partner. We them knees is like help."
Everybody else stopped walking with me. Everybody else had the knees problem. Lisa's knees, she had knee surgery, man. So I mean, thanks to Crystal Matthews, she walked with me last year. So I'm trying to find people to come walk with me, man. I need Charleston to come out and walk with me on it.
Well, I'm gonna walk with you this year, so don't worry. I've been on that treadmill every weekend for a couple months now, so I'm gonna walk with you.
Yeah, that's good, man. You be in better shape than me.
I still got a long way to go. Trust me, I got a long way to go. Butch,
I'm looking.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
Butch Kennedy, Real Men Against Domestic Violence. You can find him on Facebook. August 2nd, Boys to Men Mentoring Conference and Back to School Drive. Burke High School, downtown Charleston, 244. Type that into your navigation, your Waze, or whatever, Google Maps or Apple Maps. 244 President Street, 9 a.m. Start on time, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's a break for lunch. Some people can come early. Some people can come late. You can come if you want us from 9 to 4. That's on you, but we will be there. It's gonna be very powerful. Thank you, Butch. Thank you, Queen. I appreciate you, man. I know we'll talk soon. I love you, brother. Thank you for being you.
Love you, bro.
Love you back. Thank you, man. Butch Kennedy, that's a good brother. He's been putting in the work. A lot of people talk a good game and talk the talk. He's been doing the work. People were looking at him sideways, like he was crazy, like he had a different agenda. His agenda is just doing what he can to end violence against women like mine. But I don't care what you think. I don't care if you think I got an agenda. It don't matter. I don't. I know that's that male Taurus coming out. Yeah, it is. I don't. You know, what you think of me does not affect me at all. I would hope that people see my compassion, humanity, and empathy, but I've never been a person to where, you know, how people see me affects how I see myself. Never. My mother, who's in the chat room, she'd tell you that. Jeannie's always had a sense of confidence, primarily because of my mother and my grandparents. So that's irrelevant because this conversation is not about me. But I make no apologies for allowing myself to be a voice and an advocate to end violence against women. Yeah, it is very personal. I told that story about fighting a grown man at 4 years old that was beating my pregnant mother. She was pregnant with my baby sister, pregnant, like showing pregnant. And he was beating her. And I tried to beat his ass. I came up to his waist, but I fought him, tried to knock him down. So yes, that's my trauma. Maybe I should see a therapist about that. But I'm glad that I've turned that trauma and that pain to purpose. as my mother told me, she was always honest and shared just some of the horrors and how it just made her feel, how it affected her, not just physical health, mental, emotional health, the other problems, the emotional problems that it created. And she said, I never wanted anybody else's daughter. I don't want any other woman, no one else's daughter, to go through what I went through with domestic violence, especially because of you. So I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that you, young man, never become a man like that. I never want any woman to experience that pain because of my son. And here I am. So she poured a lot into me. Thank you, everybody. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for the chat room, Rosalind and everybody else. Speaking of my mom, who has been very active, as she always is, in the chat room. Continue to tell everybody to subscribe to my channel. Great news. Literally 102 new subscribers from becoming a Geno Jones Show, actually a YouTube partner. The Geno Jones Show will become a YouTube partner. Officially means that my media company will begin to get like monthly income, like a bag, as kids call it. Get that YouTube bag. Monthly income will come into my company from YouTube, from the threshold that they have for new subscribers, 1,000 new subscribers, and I'm that close to 1,000 new subscribers. And with all the views, my views have been up. The times, the minute, the hours you guys have been watching. Once again, as always, be sure to click the like. That's important. YouTube, their algorithms. The algorithm is just a set of instructions to tell how popular, how well your show is doing. So your comments, that's in my chat room. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Whether you agree or not, leave your comments in the comment section. Maybe you have a different take or perspective. Please put those comments in the comment section. Please click the thumbs up. Please share the show. You can share it, tag, you can copy and paste the link to the show on YouTube, and you can copy and paste that link in an email, in a text message, or like you said, you can share or tag the link on anyone and everybody's page on social media, all the different social media pages. Whatever you got, all your fans, all your friends, all your family, all your followers, be sure and let them know. Go subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. We got to support Black-owned media. It's so important to do that. Once again, I want to give a big shout out at the end of the show to the fellas, Don Lucci Prosecco, a Black-owned Prosecco company, Prosecco sparkling wine. Justin Wages and Andre Grundy, David Kinlock, they were my guests. They got a very popular, amazing Prosecco for those that like, it's not champagne, but, it's got that same vibe, sparkling wine. Prosecco is very popular. Actually, they got two. They got a rosé, and then they got the original Prosecco, their brand, Don Lucci, L-U-C-H-I. So big shout out to them. They are part of the Geno Jones Show family, and we're looking to do some exciting things together. I said, look, I know y'all are popular, but you need the right pitch man. You need the kind of pitch man. So just excited to work with those brothers in any way possible, and to give them a platform to just show the world their Black excellence, to put that on display from a business standpoint, and this sense of compassion and humanity and decency and empathy. So big shout out to them. I just had to give them another shout out. All right. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, leave your comments in my comment section. Click that thumbs up, copy and paste the link, share the show. You can tag other people, or you can share it on their pages. Tell them to subscribe to the channel. Please support the show financially. My media company, please, you can support the show financially as a gift. You can become a sponsor or advertiser. I'd be honored to have you as a sponsor. So let's talk. Shoot me an email, GenoJonesShow@gmail. I'll set up a meeting in person or via Zoom or whatever, and we can make that happen. I'll tell you everything, and I'll custom make a sponsorship package that fits your own business, product, or service specifically. You'll have multiple opportunities a month to come on and share not just the story, but talk about and promote whatever your business is. So reach out to me, GenoJonesShow@gmail. Now, if you would just like to make a contribution, support the show financially, you can do that via Zelle or Cash App. Zelle, just use my name, Geno Jones, and then you can use my email address. That's how you, basically, when you go to Zelle, just how do you want to send the gift, the money? You can do it via email, GenoJonesShow@gmail, so you can support the show financially on Zelle that way. Or you can Cash App $Dad G Jones, all one word, $, capital D like Daddy, lowercase a like Apple, lowercase d like David, capital G like Geno, capital J like Jones, lowercase o like Oprah, lowercase n like Nanette, lowercase e like Elephant, lowercase s like Sam. $Dad G Jones. No amount is too small or too large. $5, $5 billion. We'll take it all. I guess Cash App is Zelle, you may have to break that up. So, hey, it's the 15th. You got paid today. I'd be honored, and it would mean so much to my company, so much to growing my company, being able to employ those, and have a platform and have an outlet for the next generation of broadcasters, those who want to get into and eventually own media, because nobody's going to tell our story better than us. So your financial support, it is so needed, and I thank you in advance. And I thank people like Rosalind, who's watching now, who has supported. So, and if you've supported once, you can pay. You can support again. You can make another financial contribution or love offering, whatever you want to call it. So remember, Zelle. You can Zelle your contribution, your financial gift, GenoJonesShow@gmail. Use that way on Zelle, and Cash App $Dad G Jones. So we'll see you live on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. The next edition, live edition, Wednesday of the Geno Jones Show. Thanks again to Butch Kennedy, Real Men Against Domestic Violence. And I leave you with this. Real men don't make excuses. And any person, or man or woman, who would ask a victim of domestic violence, what did she do to trigger the man that battered, beat, or worse, harmed her? Check your humanity. You need to check to see if you got a soul. Check to see if you got a spirit. Check yourself before you wreck yourself and somebody else. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hello. Hey, Michelle. How you doing, Michelle? Thanks for jumping in the chat room right before we signed off. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you for watching. Tell everybody, don't forget, subscribe to my channel. I'm only 100 new subscribers away from becoming a YouTube partner. My media company getting that YouTube, that bag, that monthly income from YouTube, or they can support the show financially. They want to offer a gift, love offering, support the show financially. They can Zelle it, their financial gift, GenoJonesShow@gmail on Zelle. Use that to make your donation, to make your gift. Or they can Cash at me, $Dad G Jones. That's all one word, $Dad G Jones. All right, everybody, we'll see you live Wednesday. I ain't trying to go back. We'll see you live Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Chicago, Central Time, 6:30, me and you. Live in Los Angeles and Las Vegas, and everybody on the West Coast, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, from Seattle to Portland, Sacramento, and San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, San Diego. 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. We'll see you then. And if you missed any of this show, go back and binge watch all my back episodes. Go back and binge watch this monologue. Screen grab it. Chop up some of this monologue. Some powerful commentary. Screen grab it. Put it up on TikTok, on Twitter. Create a YouTube short right here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. Threads. See, with Threads. Blue Sky. All the platforms. Screen grab some of it. Let's make it go viral.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.